Hey everybody, yeah! Hey everybody, welcome to Kenny and Deborah's high-end, high-fidelity music show. And you're watching Kenny's Hi-Fi Down Under, everybody, with a little bit of Deborah on the side.
With a little twist of me.
Yes, wow, we got a really incredible guest here today. It's Mr. Charles Kirmuss from the Kirmuss, you can explain who you are.
Yeah, the Kirmuss Audio. Hi guys, many of you have probably heard of me or met me. I'm the disruptor in the industry,
Yes.
where for 100 years folks have not understood how records are made and have not understood the hidden music that has been hidden for 100 years.
Right. Okay.
And we created this record restoration system by accident when I was back in 2014 in the high-end show in Germany, in Munich. And I was representing in those days the Rogers BBC speaker company
Well, you're right.
that was sold to a Hong Kong company.
Oh.
And I saw, I've been building audio equipment since I was 6 years old. Tube
Right.
amplifiers, speakers.
Yes.
We had Heathkit Company near my home. And I'm the nerd, and here I am. I see these cleaning machines for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. And I worked at Bill Layton Audio in Montreal through my high school years, and I bought my VPI 16.1 in those days,
Right.
and I still have it.
Oh, right.
And when I see machines for $9,000, $10,000, $15,000, I said, geez, I'm into records, and something didn't make any sense. So long story short, at the Munich high-end show, there was an ultrasonic machine next to me that was being sold for $9,000, and then a German vacuum machine to the left side.
Yes.
And here I am with my Rogers BBC speakers, and I see all these crazy prices, and I used my VPI to clean records, and I was never happy, so I ended up buying, when I was youth in high school and elementary school and college, all the sprays, trying to get noise out. And long story short, the vacuum system died, so I bought it for like $3,000. The other ultrasonic machine, or so-called ultrasonic machine, I got at distributor price.
Yes.
Brought it home, took it apart. It wasn't an ultrasonic, which is Mr.
okay.
Fremer's machine,
Oh, was
not an
it? Yes.
ultrasonic. And then the vacuum system is a vacuum system in a beautiful case.
Yep.
So I'm fortunate because I did Homeland Security equipment for most of my career. I've been down here in Australia. We sold the Sydney Olympics, my digital recording equipment for security. We did mass transits here in Sydney.
Yes.
I worked with the first responders during the Victoria bushfires
Yes.
with my GPS. So I'm a techno nerd.
Yes.
So long story short, I started to say, what's going on? So I have a thermal chamber at my office where I can turn up temperature to 97 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, right.
I can turn humidity up.
Yeah.
And I bought 6 Hall & Oates records, H2O, and before I put them in this thermal chamber to accelerate aging, because in those days, Mr. Fremer was saying the fungus among us, we have fungus going on records. Well, is it fungus? So long story short, we put these records in, used the spectrum analyzer before.
Yes.
3 months later, took the records out and measured them again. Put them back in for another 3 months, took them back out and measured again. And yes, we had things growing on records, and we had a decrease in sound. So in all of this, I then got 4 different machines. I already had a vacuum system from Germany, my own VPI 16.1 that I've had since the 70s, and bought other machines, and then followed the manufacturer's instructions to see if they do anything. They all left the coating.
Right.
So that's where this whole process started, saying, what's going on. So the first thing was I had an office in Japan. I've been at an office or sales office in Taiwan, so I met Denon Records, I met Sony Records, and they taught me how records are made. And the problem starts with the record. We have a piece of plastic that's hot, it drops onto a record with a label. We have the plastic being squeezed, and the record pops out because there's an oil.
Yes.
And otherwise, the record would have to be forced out. So Mr. Fremer told me in those days, there's no such thing as a pressing oil. We don't put PAM on the record. I said, of course not. It comes out of the biscuit.
Yes.
So he basically said, you're traveling with a raincoat and you have a stuffed rabbit. He said, this guy is a little eccentric and a little off his rocker. And I proved to him by buying a $178,000 microscope where there is a pressing oil. And the problem with records, when they come out of the press, they're hot.
Wow.
And at the edges you have pops because dirt and dust get fused into cooling oil.
Yes.
So the problem of records is this. How do you remove it? None of the systems can remove anything because going to the University of Boulder and working with a chemist, a record and water, a record and a water with a soap, they have the same electrical charge. They repel. They do not do anything.
Right.
Further
Wow.
to that, the droplet of water is larger than the groove.
Oh, indeed, it would be.
So all you're doing is air and vacuum drying more
Yes.
coatings.
Yes.
And then the last thing we discovered is I like buying vintage records in thrift stores, in expensive neighborhoods where we have garage sales, because the kids can't fit in a record in their CD player if they have a CD player. And those
I bet they would
records,
if they could.
those records have tons of surface scratches on there, but they're not in the plastic. So I buy records in Denver every Tuesday. I'm over 65, 50 cents. I get the original records, and my system removes the scratches. They're not in the plastic. They're in the outgassing of the plasticizer. So if you buy a new car, you smell that beautiful smell,
Yes.
that on the windscreen you have that film. That's
Yes.
where the scratches are.
Yes. Yes.
So
Okay.
unless it's a new artist, new pressing, never heard before, new song, Taylor Swift or whatever, I buy the old crappy looking records and I restore them. And the way we do it is you need to change the charge of the record to be opposite to that of water to use a cavitation system.
Yes, that's what I've
And-
heard as a cavitation
And
system.
unfortunately, all the cavitation systems don't do this. They're bubblers. So cavitation creates bubbles that rise, and as they implode, they collapse and they create a vacuum. So how do you attract that? In my machine, if I put a record here for 10 years, I'll do surface cleaning, but I cannot remove the 3 layers we just talked about. So I have to change the charge of the record by applying a spray to be now positive to attract cavitation.
Yes, the positive charge, yes.
Positive charge, so
Yes.
it gets washed off. So that's why we have to go in and out of the machine 3 or 4 times to remove the films that were air or vacuum dry on a record.
Yes.
Then we remove the surface scratches that are on the film, not in the plastic. And then finally the release agent where the fused dust particles create the pops. Once that's done, don't have to do it again, and now you're playing the stamper.
Oh, wow. Yes, that does make sense. And the results will speak for themselves, everybody. I've heard Charles, and I've heard him speak about his record machine,
Restoration machine, there we go.
machine, and with wonderful results. And so, and of course, anytime that you're at any of the shows, this gentleman will be there, and he will be interviewing people and interviewing them with such aplomb and such a nice personality. Well, I've heard you, Charles, in many different shows, and I've always been taken by you in the way that you speak and the way that you have a personal connection with people, and that was.
It's all about the music. We are all music lovers. So, in kind of closing, unfortunately, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in anything. This is more science because you're dealing with a stamper that has a specification on how the pressing is made. Speakers, amplifiers, we all have our own feeling of what we want, whether it's the look of the speaker or the sound that's unique to us. But it all starts with, in my case, the record. So, if you can't afford, a 2,500 or 2,800 Australian dollar machine, don't use anything else on your record except a 10 micron brush. So what you do is you remove the dust off the record.
Yes.
And why? Because the record is, the oil is still present, and we have dirt, dust, and dandruff that lands on the record, and the heat of the needle heats that oil, and we create more pops.
Yes.
So this is the basic, remove the dust, use a lint clothes dust remover or whatever.
Yes.
Then
oh,
use
that's
a carbon.
wonderful idea. I have
Yep.
one of them, and I use cloth. No, that is a
Yep.
great suggestion.
And then a carbon fiber brush to remove or reduce the static. Then, if you have a nasty record, buy a spin clean, you know, the little yellow thing for $100 or $120. Put it in distilled water. Don't use their chemical. Move the record around. Take the record out. Buy one of our record supports. Put the record on.
That's a very clever idea that they could support, isn't it?
Then what you do is use a lint-free microfiber cloth. You remove the excess water. Then what you'll do is you'll use our optician's cloth to then remove the few droplets of water like this. And then you'll use another 10 micron brush to polish the groove. That's what you do. Then when you really want to hear restoration, you buy our system. And unfortunately, ask everyone who's selling a machine what is the gain that they guarantee you. We're the only people that guarantee you a gain because everyone creates a loss. And you don't need air drying, you don't need vacuum drying, because after our process, the records are virtually dry. But that's what you do. Simple and it's affordable.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And very effective. And for people that love their vinyl, we all have this very similar moments when we have to deal with static, we have to deal with dust. And it's part of this hobby, unfortunately, when we love our records. And if there's a way to reduce that and get a better result from our listening experience and our sonic experience, we have to do something. I'm quite, at this point, haven't got to this stage, and I'm still dealing with some of these issues. And they can be a bit of a pain sometimes, can't they?
Yeah, but again, there's never been education. Even the record pressers don't really understand exactly what we as audiophiles want to pick up. You know, this question of pressing oil and release agent. I had to buy, for proving to Mr. Fremer, a $178,000 microscope to do this. 4 years ago, I discovered a Library of Congress document made by the Shore brothers in 1976, where with their V15 Mark IV, which I sold in Montreal at Bill Layton Audio when I was a high school student, they all came back. There was something on the needle and people were saying the needle was falling apart. No, Shore found out it was gouging the record. So if you go onto their website in their archives, they show in 1978 the Mark IV, they sold you or gave you a little brush that you put on your tone arm, thinking it will keep your needle clean. Long story short, the V15 Mark V came out, which is the industry standard for the custodians in Australia, Canada, Germany, BBC, Radio Canada. They changed the architecture and the geometry of the needle, so they didn't have that problem. But they used all of the emerging cleaning systems. We had the Okinoki, the Nitty Gritty, the Spin Clean. They all came out to help Shure, and no one really knew what the problem is. So I discovered that document, which I wish I did, because they still owe $140,000 on this microscope that I bought. So I'm like, please buy my equipment. My wife wants to have some spending money. She wants to travel with me to Australia, and not in economy class, you know. So, but that's vindicated, that document vindicated what I discovered.
Yes, isn't that?
And then now Fremer says, and I quote, back in 2019, he says, holy crap, top end fully restored, backgrounds were super quiet. This is in Peter Townsend's Rhythm Guitar Strings and Tommy. Then last year he says, while skeptical at first, Charles Kirmuss has proven to me everything he advertises is true, and I cannot disprove.
It's just
So
wonderful.
that's the vindication, because we fought.
That's what you want. If it's from Michael Fremer, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that
Good
cool?
recommendation.
Isn't that cool?
Absolutely.
And I'm a
Charles.
nobody. I traveled with a stuffed rabbit. Out of the respect for Chris and Debbie here, I didn't bring it because I'm trying to be professional. Maybe the stuffed rabbit will be here tomorrow. But this is the new look I bought last year at the show, the
Very
Australian
smart.
look. Yeah, no more
very
white
smart.
lab cord.
No hat today, Charles?
The hat, it's winter here, so I left it at home.
Ah, yes.
But-
Yes, it's a Panama, is it?
Yes, it's a Panama.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I brought my Akubra Stylemaster, and it's fedora. And it's a beautiful hat. It's upstairs in the room, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bought this in the UK because everyone in a Range Rover on Sundays going to church wore that hat.
Ah,
It's a
right,
British
yes.
make hat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very becoming. Suits you.
By the way, to show
Yes.
the lunacy, I picked this record up downstairs. I collect test records, and this is a memento for me of this trip. Meeting Chris and Debbie here at Hi-Fi Collective. They're handling all of our sales here and distribution in all of Australia and New Zealand.
Yes.
And this is wonderful. It's room acoustics and how to set your system up. It's an Australian 1974 pressing, the year I graduated from high school. So this is very nice, and thanks to the folks
It's
downstairs.
wonderful.
So,
Yeah.
and it smells great. Smells
Ah.
PVC plastic
Mhm.
and evaporation of the gases. There we
That's
go.
wonderful.
Yeah, cheers.
Okay,
Good.
well, thank you very much, Charles. I appreciate that very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a
and,
pleasure.
I'm just very happy and grateful that Charles is happy to do a show with Deborah and myself. So, this is wonderful. So, everybody, if you like what you're hearing and you like our show, it's Kenny's Hi-Fi Down Under. And as we sing, Deborah and myself, we sing, you can ding that bell.
Ding that bell.
That bell. That bell. And we also sing, and you'll be familiar to this one. You say, okay, thanks, Charles. And so this is the last part. We're going to go now. And so we say, bye, everybody. Yeah. Bye, everybody. A little bit of a little river band sound.
And before everyone goes away, being Canadian, Skippy, 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 the bush kangaroo. Skippy, Skippy,
This is the friend you ever
Ever
true.
true.
There we go. There we go. Cheers, guys.
Hey,
And
Skip.
I do have every morning now, because of Shane, I have my toast
Yes.
and I have my Vegemite.
Yeah.
Yes, we did it live, and now I have Vegemite every morning here.
Yes, yes. Oh, it's wonderful. We just put on a Men at Work show with the Down Under song.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, with Vegemite sandwich.
Very good.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
So everybody, thanks very much for watching. And this is Charles Kirmuss, and with his
Restoration
machine.
And if you go onto our YouTube channel, there is a 45-minute clip. It's not selling the Kirmuss, it's teaching you about how records are made. It was filmed at Damino Technologies in Korea in front of the medias, you guys. And it teaches you about records, and the next time you see a guy with a white coat and a rabbit and something else, you can see whether it's live or Memorex, whether it's the real deal. So it's educational.
Right.
Excellent.
Oh,
Perfect.
wonderful. Thank you, Charles.
Okay.
And thank you for filming, Deborah. And thank you, guys, for having us in your room. I appreciate that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All the best. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.